We be fussing, we be screaming, but you the one I wanna lay beside this evening. I'm gonna come back even when I'm leaving. You give good love and I receive it. When you feeling down, I'ma sing to you. That ring on your finger got a ring to it. That's that real love, God-fearing love. It may not be how we dreamed it, but it's still love. Can we ever sit down?
I'm waiting on you to stop trying to always tell me what I said.
You be just forgetting, doing a lot of forgetting.
I be doing a lot of forgetting, or you just always think you're right?
No, it ain't about being
I
right.
believe that's part of the latter.
No. Anyways.
Anyway.
What's up, y'all?
Welcome back. Oh, God. Whenever you get like this.
Like what?
I don't know. Doing these things, it makes me nervous.
I'm not doing nothing. We're getting ready to embark upon a whole new episode.
Embark is crazy.
Well, it's embark with you because it's always a journey, you know. And so
have you ever been slapped with a microphone?
Embark was a good choice of words.
You know, we have a new set. I have a lot of things that I can have access to.
We're revisiting. I want David to revisit some of the other times that you've physically threatened me in some of the other episodes. And I want him to put a compilation together of all of the threats that you've made.
And then I want him to put a compilation together of why those threats exist.
So let me get this straight. You're allowed to threaten bodily harm to people because they say something you don't like?
Yes.
No.
I didn't say do it. I said threaten.
You asked me, have I ever been slapped with a microphone?
And that was a question.
What are you implying?
Have you ever been slapped with a microphone?
How am I supposed to take that?
That's a question.
It is a question, but it's a question with intent.
What's the answer?
The answer is no.
Okay, then.
And so what does that mean for you? If
There's
I look at you and say absolutely not.
There's a first time for everything.
See, that's that garbage. You on trash. He's going to put that compilation together of all the times you threatened me, man.
Because David really cares about me, and he does not want me to look like the bad guy.
He's going to do it.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he's going to do it.
Nope.
He's going to do it.
Nope.
You're looking like the bad guy, and you're threatening all the time.
Nope. All I got to do is pay David in tacos.
I mean,
empanadas.
He does like tacos.
Any rice and beans. I mean, what's the one thing, David, that we ate
yours. I'll up yours.
In Florida, papas. What's it called?
Papoose. He rap.
What made with the flat cornmeal joint? No, not an empanada. Arepa.
Well, I'm gonna trumpet with some of that good aged ramen broth.
You would have to take him to New York for that.
Yeah. I'll be willing to do that.
Oh wow! Oh,
in order to have him
New
put
York
this
for
compilation
ramen
together of you threatening
me. I probably would lose that one. The only way I can trump that, David, don't shake your head. Yes, the only way I can trump that is if I take him and Carla to Colombia.
Bro,
and we eat authentic Colombian food.
What in the world?
Now who's going to get the compilation done?
What in the world, bro? It's all about who strikes first. They getting ready to have a child here in a minute.
Yes.
And so I'm going to strike first.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're going to go to New York and get ramen now?
Sooner than later. We'll get that compilation put together.
I'll make sure to call.
That displays
all the restaurants you guys go to and report
all
rats.
of you threatening me. All of the times you threatened me. But anyways, y'all. Let's make this.
You haven't seen anything yet in season 3. There's many more threats to come.
How am I supposed to take that?
I don't know. Because
at what point do I not get threatened anymore? And so, and I make an action.
At what point do you stop? At what point do you stop? Always, you have to understand. For every action, there is a reaction of equal or greater value. So if you would stop harassing me, antagonizing me, then there would be no said.
So me either disagreeing, having a difference of opinion.
No, it's not you disagreeing.
Or expressing the fact that some of the things I think you say are just misinformed or not true. You're saying that's antagonizing, and that's me acting in a way that
because it's
deserves
constant.
Physical violence.
Because it is constant. It's something that you do consistently.
Y'all listen. You making the transition of I'm trying to help her with her transitions.
I'm trying to help you with your
Because
transitions.
whatever is going on in here, up in here, it ain't transitioning well, and it's coming out of here wrong. So something needs to happen here.
All right.
In this mental transition that comes out in the form of words.
It's going to be a bedroom transition. There's going to be a great transition. Yep.
How about this, then? Since you want to talk about that, how
No,
about this?
because you said the other day.
How about this?
No, wait.
No, how about
we
this?
were
Let me say
talking
what I'm
the
gonna say.
other day,
Let me say
and
what I'm
Julia's like, you can't do that. You can't, in a marriage, you can't threaten to take
Yeah.
away something that's mine.
No, I didn't say that's mine. That's not true. How about this? Them doors been blowed off, and they gonna keep on getting blowed off. How about that? Since we going there, but let's move on. Let's transition. Let's transition out of here.
Like
Come
the
on,
walls of
I'm out of here.
Jericho
I'm out of
came
here.
tumbling down.
I'm done. I'm not using biblical language to communicate that, y'all. I'm not doing that. She's out of control. Anyways. Let's move on. Let's move on.
You walked around
Don't,
and said it.
please. Let's transition.
And then you shouted on the last one.
Let's transition out of here. Anyways, y'all, what we want to do is we want to pick up on the last conversation
Mighty God.
where we was talking about this transition piece.
You are so stupid.
What?
God.
And so we was talking about that transition. In order to do it successfully,
We were talking about surviving.
you got to do two things.
and thriving.
Yep, you got to survive and you got to thrive.
In transition.
And what we were saying is that survival oftentimes is predicated upon obedience to what God is communicating. But watch this though. Watch this. I'm gonna throw a little monkey wrench.
I'm watching.
Little boomerang. So we got real spiritual and real deep, and we start talking about, well, you have to be obedient to the Lord in order to be able to
You did that, not me.
integrally transition into your next space.
That was your pastor voice.
I feel like that's true. But let's make it practical.
Okay.
Let's make it, you got a job. You trying to get promoted. You want to transition into the next phase of whatever that job has to offer. In order for you to be able to survive that, you're going to have to be obedient to what? To the instructions and the directions that maybe your sponsor has for you, or maybe your immediate direct report has for you. You know what I'm saying? Or to what your specific job description has. In order to be able to get and survive to get to the next level, you got to do what's in front of you first.
So again, I think because we're talking about specifically marriage and really helping couples survive transition in their marriages, how do you do that? Because you are not my boss. So if you and I are trying to get to another level in our relationship, let's say, and let's just talk about our current situation. We are in the middle of a transition. We sold a home. We're getting a new home built. We are living in a very, very small.
Transitional living.
It is transitional living, waiting on our house to be done. How do you and I and any other couple that's going through this level of transition, how do we survive? How does our marriage survive?
I think you embrace whatever changes need to be made in order for it to work.
Oh, okay, you say that.
No, but there's no rhyme or reason. It's just reality. So here are the changes that need to be made.
Just swallowing that pill.
In order for us to make it work.
Man.
We went from an over 3,000 square foot home. We sold it. And in transition, we're now living in a 900 square foot home, which means that in order for us to make this work, certain decisions needed to be made.
Indeed.
So that we could facilitate this whole situation successfully.
And you want to know what else had to happen? we couldn't take everything with us.
That's my point I'm making. When I said certain decisions need to be made,
Couldn't take everything
those
with
are
us.
some of the decisions that needed to be made. We had to figure out what was priority in this season and what wasn't.
Man.
And I think like I like gear. I like to be fresh. And I needed to figure out from a wardrobe perspective what was going to be priority for the next 3 months and what wasn't, which means some stuff needed to be put away and become inaccessible during the transition phase that I'm in. And so there's some stuff that had to be put in the storage that's tucked away that it ain't even worth trying to go get.
Not right now.
Well, not right now during this season.
Yeah.
And so, but I needed to make the decision on what that was and what that wasn't.
Yeah.
And so I think like when you talk about transition in marriage, okay, we transitioned to a new space in life in our marriage.
Yes.
Some of the transitions look like one person was the breadwinner in one particular season.
Yeah.
And then in the next season, the other person was the breadwinner.
Yeah.
It might look like one person was in corporate America during one season, but guess what? The next season, they became a full-time entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And so there are certain things that you need to take with you during that transition phase, and there's certain things that you need to leave behind.
So speak on then, because I think we talk about like what you're talking about are large, I would deem them high level transitions, right? Mm-hmm. I mean from a macro level.
From a
micro level.
Like what?
Like us having one bathroom. So when I talk about getting into the nitty gritty of because I think about just day-to-day marriage. There's transitions in day-to-day marriage. How do you manage the attitudes? How do you manage the ebbs and the flows of while we're in transition, or while this may be a season for somebody else where they don't make as much money as they did? Like you have to then deal with the everyday stuff that comes with that.
So it's the same principle. It's just on a micro level.
Okay.
So the same principle of we went from, what was it, three bathrooms to one.
Yeah.
So what can't I take with me in this season of one bathroom?
You cannot take the mindset of I can take a shower whenever I want. Man.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so there's certain things that I can't take with me. I can't use the bathroom whenever I want.
So it's a mentality then that can't necessarily go with you in transition.
There's a mentality. And so like, for instance, we talked about moving. It was stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That couldn't go.
Right.
But it was also a mentality that later translated into stuff.
100%.
My mentality let me know that there were certain things that could go and certain things that couldn't.
Yeah.
It just happened to be stuff. But it was also attitudes.
100%. Because even when we made the decision that all the stuff couldn't go, you're still dealing with your attitude behind I had to leave all of my stuff.
And also too, where we was to where we are now.
Yeah.
Right? Where we live now is very urban, very
gentrified.
In your face, gentrified, which is all just real nice terms of saying we in the hood, y'all.
It's like a rich ghetto.
We smack dab in the middle of money and mayhem. That's where we're at.
Yeah.
And so, this is our reality. And so there's a different attitude that needs to happen. What do I mean? I mean, I can't take the attitude of it's okay if I leave my doors unlocked overnight.
Oh, snap. Sorry.
No, I can't take that attitude because guess what? Where we at right now, you can leave your doors unlocked if you want to.
So you're saying the attitude has to change, mentality has to change, and behaviors have to change.
Behaviors, expectations have to be altered and adjusted in order for you to be able to survive the transition.
Okay, so this is good. This is good because I think what this does for people in relationship, you have to also take turns. Because we're both in transition, right? Yeah. We're both experiencing the same things, maybe on different levels, but we're both are going through this together. However, we both can't be going through attitudes at the same time. You almost have to leave. It's like, okay, it's Monday, it's your day. Today's your day to be upset because the bathroom is busy. Or tomorrow may be my turn. Kind of like that, you have to treat it normal with the ebbs and the flows, and you have to go into that with understanding. You can't be mad every day, Shantae, for the next 90 days until our house is done.
In a perfect world, yes. But in reality, the chances are that you and I are both going to be frustrated in the middle of the transition.
And so here's the thing, though. I think that is where a lot of marriages are tested, and some of them don't survive transition.
Here is where the training of it goes.
Okay, let's talk about it.
The training of it goes is how to deal with the results of the transition, the frustration.
Okay.
How do I handle me being frustrated and you being frustrated all at the same time because we're in the middle of transition?
Somebody has to make the decision to not be frustrated. It's like it takes for me, it's like both of us can't be blowing the money. We both can't just say, you know what, BMF it. Somebody has to be the one that says, no, not right now.
I think it's a lot of empathy and understanding that needs to go there. Understanding that, hey, you might be frustrated at the same time as me.
Yeah.
Your frustration might be different than mine, though.
Yeah.
But it doesn't invalidate your frustration. It
True.
just means it's different than mine. So on Monday, you might be mad because King was in there using the bathroom and you needed to get into the shower because you had an appointment.
Yeah.
But on that same
Which has
Monday,
happened.
I ain't necessarily frustrated about that. I'm frustrated because I went to go get into a parking space
And it was gone.
and it was gone. But
Yeah.
both of them are the result of transition.
Both of the reasons why we're frustrated is because of our transition.
Yes.
And so what would you say then to a couple that's like, man, we in this tiny apartment, man, we on top of each other. What would marriage counseling would you then offer them for them to not be at each other's necks?
I think one of the things is are you guys agreed upon the end goal? Is there an agreement upon the overall vision?
Yeah.
Are you guys on the same page when it comes to the destination? If the answer is yes,
Yeah.
then I think what that means is that means that, okay, if we both agree that our destination is our new house,
Yeah.
then we need to figure out what compromise looks like in the interim.
So that for me goes beyond surviving, and now you're beginning to tapping into thriving in transition. Because you always say this, and I love when you say it, you says vision governs behavior. Meaning whatever I can see governs how I act. Our vision, we go to our new house almost every day. And it, believe it or not, even though we go back home to a 900 square foot apartment,
Gives me something to hope for.
what I saw earlier, it governs my behavior. So when I come home to the 900 square feet, I'm not frustrated. I'm cleaning. Even though I only got one bathroom, I'm able to deal with and cope because I know what I saw.
You're able to deal with the realities of your now because of the hope for your next.
Facts. I mean, you always want to get super deep with it, but yeah.
Super deep, because when I'm able to put it in words,
Yeah.
I'm able to understand it.
I mean, yeah. That's,
You know what I'm saying?
That's what it is.
And so I'm able to simplify it. And so it's the same thing. It's the gospel. It's having a relationship with Christ and believing the scripture that says he's the God of all comfort.
But what happens, because we know it happens, when it's taking too long, and now we've been coming to go see this house for 2 months, and it ain't done yet.
You got to keep your eyes on the prize. I'm going to stay deep with you. The Apostle Paul said, I press toward the mark for the prize.
Yes.
Of the high calling that's in Christ Jesus. You got to stay with the vision before you. The moment you remove the vision is the moment that frustration then starts to govern your behavior.
You're right, but I think that we're forgetting one main ingredient is that transitions can have transitions.
All right, so we're talking about marriage.
Yes.
What's the end goal for the marriage? A happy marriage?
100%.
Okay.
A happy, healthy marriage.
So if we've agreed upon a happy, healthy marriage, then we need to define for us what happy means.
Yeah.
And what healthy means.
Okay.
Because that can mean something different for different people, depending on who they are. That's all relative.
Okay.
what does happy mean for us and what does healthy mean for us.
Yeah.
We have to identify what are majors and what are minors.
Yeah.
In other words, what are non-negotiables and what are, okay, I'm okay with that. You know what I'm saying? So if we don't have those things defined, then I don't think we have an opportunity to survive or to thrive in the transition. Because what will happen is I'll start looking at non-negotiables. I'll start looking at minors and acting as if they're majors.
So I think then what a couple should do is in the middle of a transition or knowing a transition is coming, I think sitting down
Communicate.
and communicate what these majors and minors are.
Communicate.
Because this is, I never want to approach marriage from like this very vague standpoint. For me, every day, every season in your marriage needs a microscope. You got to be able to go into it because it's full of transition. Our boys going to a new school. That was something that we had to sit down, we had to talk about and navigate even with them. It wasn't something that was like, oh, just be happy and healthy. Be happy and healthy how? Like the how-tos of a transition for me have to be communicated. And it can't just be communicated, meaning talked about. It has to be comprehended. I read this thing the other day that was so cold. This lady said, we talk about communication so much when it comes to relationships that we now think that communication just means as long as we talked about it. She said, but many people leave conversations and there was a bunch of communication but no comprehension. You left not knowing what in the world I was saying. I've left not knowing what you was talking about, but we communicated. So I think when we're talking about transition, there has to be such a high level of communication and comprehension that we're both on the same page, that we can not only survive, but we can thrive in it.
But I think comprehension comes from listening. So I think sometimes we just do all this communicating and we don't listen because we're too busy trying to formulate our thought about what's being said instead of internalizing what's being said. So the only reason why I'm not going to say the only reason, a lot of the times the reason why we don't comprehend is because we don't listen.
I disagree. I think it's on the communicator. Sometimes the person communicating and didn't do a good job.
Well, so here's the deal though. If you didn't understand in that setting, then it's your job to communicate, I don't understand what you're saying.
Or maybe I understood it as one way, but in your mind, it was another way. That has happened.
And I think that comes again from not having agreed upon goals, not having agreed upon, direction. If there's nothing agreed upon, then I will misconstrue what you're communicating. We haven't agreed upon anything. It's actively listening. It's okay. So what I'm hearing you say is X, Y, and Z.
So did I do a good job the other day when I communicated to you about the house? And you said to me, hey, this space is too small for it to be a mess. Because it's really small, it's going to be a mess. And then I said, so are you saying it's on me to clean it? I was asking a question. And you said, yes, that's what I'm communicating.
Yeah.
But then I communicated back to you about it's, for me, it being, our marriage being happy and healthy in transition meant that we both still needed to take responsibilities no matter how big the space is.
And so, but what I had communicated then, I had already communicated before.
Okay.
And so what I
You're
feel like
saying
is
previously you'd already communicated that the house was my responsibility.
no, I had already communicated that it was too small
Okay.
and it needed to be cleaned more frequently.
Okay.
But I don't think you did a good job of actively listening. So you didn't do a good job of saying, okay, so what I'm hearing you say is X, Y, and Z. You didn't do that the first time I said that. You did that the second time.
Because that statement was passive aggressive.
I don't believe that.
The statement of the house is too small, that's a passive aggressive statement.
No.
What you're saying is what you really intended to say was, Ashante, you're going to need to make sure that the house stays clean because it's too small.
No, because when you asked me that, I gave you plenty of examples of how I'm participating in this as well. I said, well, no, that's not really what I'm saying. I just left the laundromat with you and we washed clothes.
We did.
I cleaned the bathroom. You know what I'm saying? I cleaned the kitchen. I'm the one who cleaned the kitchen and mopped the floor and all of that. And so what I said was, no, that's not really what I'm communicating. What I'm communicating is that it needs to be done more frequently than before, irregardless of who's doing it. I think what I didn't do a good job of communicating is I didn't think in that particular moment that you were holding up your end of the bargain.
But I do clean.
I didn't think you were holding
But
up
I
your end of the
do
bargain.
clean.
I didn't say you didn't clean. I just didn't think you were holding up your end of the bargain.
So this is a great. I would like to know.
We're in transition.
We're in transition. I would like for me it's a poll because again, in your mind, you said it. I communicated it once before. And when you communicated once before, I didn't hear my responsibility. I heard you say it needs to stay clean because it's a small space.
And let me tell you how I communicated. I communicated it on two fronts.
Okay.
I communicated it with my words and I communicated it with my actions. So not only did I say
Neither one of
it,
them were directed towards me, though.
but not only did I say it, I did it. And so in my
That's
mind,
still not. Again, that's the problem. That's your perception. In your mind, you communicated to me twice. Now you're frustrated because
I agree with
in
that.
the middle of that, now you're frustrated because in your mind you communicated to me twice. And what I'm on the other end going, you ain't never say nothing to me.
in my mind, you wasn't following my example. In my mind.
This is why communication with it has to be it is on you as the speaker to make sure that I comprehend what it is you're saying.
So you wasn't picking up what I was putting down. So what you
No.
what you thought was is that you could just live in this small space.
But I've cleaned it, so you can't say what you're about to say.
And not clean.
So instead of you saying something like this, now this is how I communicate, and in my mind I do. I would have said, "Hey, Jew, I'm not about to clean this by myself, so we're going to need to pick different days or different tasks that this needs to be done." For me, that is direct. That's asking for a plan.
I agree.
That it's not. I take it like this. When you said that to me, I heard it like, "Man, that needs to go in the trash can."
So
That's not me saying, "Man, this needs to go in the trash can," and then me going to throw it away. It never says Julius needed to do it.
well, it goes deeper. The reason why it goes deeper is because I feel like you didn't consider everything else that I got going on.
Oh, here.
So you wasn't tapped in. You wasn't tapped in. You wasn't considering everything else that I had going on.
Man, I tell you, a Negro cleaned the kitchen one time.
No.
Cleaned the bathroom. How many times have you cleaned the kitchen?
We only been living there for like 3 weeks, almost a month.
A month.
You know what I'm saying?
And you cleaned the kitchen
I've cleaned
one
it as
time.
much as you. I've cleaned everything as much as you.
That's not true.
It's very true.
I've cleaned the bathroom twice. I did.
Ashante,
I didn't just clean
you
it the other
straighten.
day.
Listen. What her definition of clean is?
That's not true. I
It's
was on my hands and knees bleaching
straightening
the
some stuff up.
floor.
Straight-
Oh, I'm gonna show you straighten up. I'm gonna show you straighten up when you got two sons
Yeah.
that's pissing all over the floor. We got
Yeah.
one bathroom.
Yeah, I know, because I had to clean
So
it up.
I'm gonna
It
show
was
you
ridiculous.
straighten up.
No, I had to clean it up too with bleach. The point is I think communication is how we thrive in the transition.
You better.
Clearly.
There's
So
no other
this
way.
is what I'm communicating to you right now in front of all of these people.
Oh, please, I want to hear
I'm
it.
communicating that I have a busy schedule in this season.
Okay.
We're in the midst of a small temporary living situation.
All right.
Because my schedule is a little bit more busy than yours, I'm going to need you to step up and clean
It's the
more
wrong- it's the
frequently.
wrong language.
More frequently than normal because our space is smaller, which means we're soiling things at a much more rapid rate
That's the wrong
than we
language.
soil things in a bigger space.
That's the wrong language.
And so, no, it's because it's direct and you don't want to hear that.
Don't say step up like I'm not.
Okay, well,
That's what I say wrong language.
step up. I said I'm going to need you to clean more frequently.
Oh, I'm so glad we have it on tape. You literally said I'm gonna need you to step up.
Okay. Well, I'm going to need you to step up and clean
It's the
more
wrong-
frequently.
it's the wrong language. Wrong language.
I mean, the shoe fit.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, the shoe fits, baby.
Ooh, baby.
Uh-huh.
I love it, baby. I love it, baby.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
love it, baby. So y'all listen, this transitional piece is critical because this is why this is good for us, is because we're communicating it and we're getting it through. But what a lot of people don't do is they never say anything. So there's going to be moments when you communicate something maybe that the other person doesn't want to hear. On either end of it, you didn't communicate that well, and so I didn't receive it the way that you intended for me to receive it, or I don't like how you said that, or whatever. In those moments of transition in marriage, you have to be honest enough to communicate. Whether the person wants to receive it, like it, or whatever, so that you can work through it. Because if you go through a transitional period saying nothing, you'll arrive at an undesired space.
You won't. You won't. Your marriage will not make it.
Right.
Your marriage will not make it. Your marriage will just be stuck in survival mode.
Yeah. And fellas, you got to see what happened right there is I was able to word that in such a way that I was able to reel her into the situation.
No.
And she was able to agree, and then we could move forward
still
over the little rift that we had.
His mind. Hey, please, as soon as these cameras go off, you understand? It's going to be a whole bunch of bleep outs and everything else. So he ain't real nothing in.
Yeah, I reeled that back in
sir.
so that we could get past that hurdle. Watch this. Together.
Boom. Boom. Yes.
We making marriage great again, y'all. We making marriage great again. You feel me?
You have to comprehend. When y'all are communicating, always ask yourself, does my person understand what I am saying?
Yeah.
Because Julius hears different than I talk, and I hear different than how he talks. And I have to adjust my language to fit his ears.
I like that.
And you have to do the same thing.
I think we could both stand to do better at that.
Yeah, I agree.
You a little more, but we could both stand to do better at that. And
You just can't. You just can't. It's just, you just gotta. Goes back to my original point. You just gotta be right. You
just playing, sweetheart.
Oh no,
I'm just joking.
This is my life.
You know,
this is my life.
This has been good.
Oh, and when you doing, Lord, forgive me.
Remember he came out with that? All right, it was the dude on YouTube who was beating on the table and he was rapping.
Oh God!
But y'all, this was good, man. So this was transition part number 2.
Yeah, it was good.
Number 2.
I cannot wait. I'm excited about season 3.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just, I think there's a lot of things that are birthed in transition that are going to be great for us.
Yeah. And y'all stay tapped in, share, download, subscribe to YouTube, Make Marriage Great Again podcast.
There was a gnat. I was not trying to hit you.
Okay. On Instagram, MMJ Podcast. On Facebook, Make Marriage Great Again podcast. Share it with your friends. Tag. Do whatever you got to do.
Y'all have to go subscribe on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm done having a conversation. Go subscribe. Quit cheating and watching the video on Facebook. Yeah. Go subscribe and click the little alert icon so that whenever we drop a new video, you'll be the first to know.
And it's going to be on Mondays.
Mondays?
Yeah, Mondays.
Hey.
So
Mondays.
just make sure you're ready. Every Monday. Peace.